إن في الجنة نهرا من لبن.
You know something, but many things are hidden from you. And that's the nature of the Quran. لا تنتهي عجائبه. The Prophet ﷺ said, its wonders will never cease in a hadith. لا تنتهي عجائبه. Its wonders will never cease. And that's why the more you look at it, the more insights. If you keep looking at it, you'll always see something new. You'll see things new. If you read Surah Al-Waqi'ah every day for your entire adult life, I guarantee you that even after 20 years, 30 years of reciting it, and I've been looking at it maybe now, reciting it for about 25 years, and yet there's still things in Waqi'ah that I realized that I didn't know before. And that's the nature of Quran. So that's what he says, that لا تحصى عجائبها. It's from the hadith, لا تنتهي عجائبها. ولا تسام على الإكثار بالسأم. Even with repetition, it never becomes tedious. And one of the things that many of us are deprived of, and the Shaykh recited tonight about إن قومي اتخذوا هذا القرآن مهجورا, that my people, they left the Quran, they abandoned the Quran. One of the things that many of us are deprived of is ladhat al-Quran. And this is something that a hafiz knows. Anybody who is consistent with their mudawama ala kitabillah, they begin to taste a ladha in the qira'ah, a pleasure that comes out of the qira'ah. And some of the ulama said that the pleasure can be so intense that it can diminish from the ajr, because you're actually doing it for the actual pleasure of the recitation. And that's a debate amongst the ulama. Some of them said that the pleasure of qira'at al-Quran, ladhat al-Quran, tasiru ila had yanqusu min ajr al-tali. It'll literally deprive the reciter of reward because he's just doing it for the pleasure. That's a real state that people go into. It will never seem tedious. The more you read it, you can read something over and over again. One of the things about pop songs is they don't last. They don't just keep playing them. They go out of popularity. Why? Because people just get tired of hearing the song. And that's why musicians that have hits, they have these wretched careers where they have to play the same song for like 50, 60 years. They're still like old rock and roll people. And they're so tired of it because it grows tedious. And that's the nature of batil. People get tired of it. But the Quran, the nature of the Quran is, even if you do a great deal of Quran, it's the opposite effect happens. The heaviness or the weightiness of Quran is for the people that don't recite it very often. But the people that do it constantly, they actually feel deprived when they don't get the chance to recite it. It has the opposite effect on them. They actually want to recite it more. And that's why people like Imam al-Bukhari used to do khatam every night. And his specialty wasn't the Quran, it was the hadith. And many of the ulama, that was their hal. They just did. Abu Hanifa radiallahu anhu was famous for the thousands of khatam that he did in his private chambers. Thousands. People do it maybe, some people do it once a year in Ramadan, that's it. Some people do it once a month, 12 times out of the year. But there's people do it every 7 days. There's people do it every 3 days. And then he says the reciter's eyes were soothed by it.